I think we'll start now, right?
Yes, Prashant.
13th November, World Kindness Day. It's on this day in 2009, NASA announced that water has been discovered on the moon. And in this year, 2020, same day, we are going to discover something interesting. Welcome to the education series of Division B of Area 20. Fuel up your career beyond 2020. My name is Prashant, and I'm going to be your surgeon at arms for today's meeting. Before we start the session, we have few etiquettes to be followed. Requesting everyone to keep your mobile phones and noise-making devices or applications on silence. Keep your microphones in mute. If your video is turned on, refrain from eating or drinking or moving. Use the chat window if only necessary. Politics, religion, and sex are the three taboo topics we must not speak during the meeting. For question and answer segment, you can send your question through personal chat to DTM Robin Anand. Mission of Toastmaster District is we build new clubs as a support all the clubs in achieving excellence. Mission of Toastmaster Club, we provide and support a positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in great self-confidence and personal growth. To move the session forward, I would like to invite someone who is very special and very talented, composed person who is also an entrepreneur by running her own firm, Inspiria, which is into personal counseling and consulting. She is a member of Tejas Toastmaster Club and Dubai Toastmaster Club, an active member of Toastmasters since 2017. With a thunderous round of applause, let's welcome our Area 20 Area Director, Toastmaster Anita Biju, to the screen. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prashant, for that wonderful opening. A warm good evening to one and all present here. Welcome to another education session of Division B, powered by Area 20. This is part of Division B's initiative towards providing answers to the real life challenges and add value to our community, especially during these trying times. Thank you all for joining the session. Now, we have our dignitary like immediate past District Director, DTM Robin Anand, and he's also our moderator for the day. Thank you, DTM Robin, for your presence and readily accepting to handle the session as our moderator. Can we have some words from you, sir?
Thank you, Toastmaster Anita, for inviting me, and thank you to Division B and Area 20 team for organizing this very, very thoughtful webinar, because I think this is the need of the hour. And thank you to Toastmaster Jaya to agree to be part of this program. So I'm looking forward to this session, and of course all your questions are welcome. So thank you so much for having me. Back to you, Anita.
Thank you, Robin. And now let me welcome our ever supportive and dynamic Division Director, Toastmaster Harish Krishnan, to address the audience.
Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible enough, yeah? Yes. At the onset, I would like to congratulate Area 20 Director, Toastmaster Anita Biju, for organizing her maiden session from Area 20, which is part of Division B Education Series. Though this is the first from Area 20 in her official capacity as an Area Director, she played a pivotal role in arranging the first session. It was the beginning, the initial session from Division B. Now, coming to the session as such, I'm sure it might have raised a few eyebrows, seeing the title, Fuel Up Your Career. What has it got to do with Toastmasters, right? It's genuine, we cannot blame them. That's quite rational to think like that. But the fact is, any association or organization, we Toastmasters are also part of a community or an ecosystem, and we cannot be indifferent to what's happening around, right? With so much of ambiguities around, we are all at our crossroads in some way or the other with this big question, what next? So especially these times, of all the times, some are entering the job market as freshers, while some are at their midway through careers, and some with few more years before they call it a day. So this session is planned to give back to our community to help them cope up with the challenges for both Toastmasters and non-Toastmasters alike. I'm sure with a seasoned trainer like what we have today, this session will give you or arm you with the much needed insights on the way forward. And I'm sure this session will be worthwhile and hope you all will love it. Thank you, Area 20 core team, its club leaders and by Toastmasters, Tejas Toastmasters, Alwasal Toastmasters for organizing and arranging this. Thank you, AD Anita, and hope to see more exciting activities from Area 20 under your able leadership. Over to you, Anita.
Thank you, Division Director, Toastmaster Harish Krishnan. Today, we have an education session which is quite relevant and an important one. This session is focused on how to stay relevant, how to future-proof your career path beyond 2020, how to make the right choice at your entry levels, how to scale up your career ladder, and to keep yourself flying with the new developments around us. Once again, I thank each and everyone present here. Your questions can be posted to our moderator, DTM Robin Anand, through private chat. To take this meeting forward, let me invite a young, passionate Toastmaster who is holding XCOM roles at Dubai Toastmasters Club and Podcasters Club. She is the CEO of Rooftop Sales, where she helps business owners to grow sales. She likes traveling. Let me welcome our MC, the sales coach, Toastmaster Alifia Suret. Over to you, Alifia.
Thank you, and the DTM Anita. A wise man once faced a group of people who were complaining about the same issues over and over again. Now, one day, instead of listening to the complaints, he told them a very funny joke. And everyone started laughing and laughing. But after a couple of minutes, he told them the same joke again. Well, a few of them smiled. When he told them the same joke again for the third time, no one laughed anymore. The wise man simply smiled and said, "You cannot laugh at the same joke over and over again. So why do you continue crying on the same problems over and over again?" Food for thought. Toastmasters 2020 has been a tough year for all of us, which makes me want to congratulate the district and all of you present in this room today. Let's give ourselves a big round of applause as you have chosen to be here on this Friday evening, in spite of wanting to be with your families. It gives me a great pride to introduce the distinguished Toastmaster, Jaya Bhatia. She has over 30 years of experience in HR and business advisory, a seasoned business leader in Middle East and India. She is a prominent speaker and a trainer since 25 years and a distinguished Toastmaster since 14 years. As a CEO and founder of Expert Hub Robotics, she has advanced in the field of AI and robotic process automations. As a turnkey and sole distributor for premium service robots, Expert Hub Robotics offers service robots for rent and sale in the UAE and all over Middle East. Jaya passionately believes in retaining the human factor in human resources while digitizing the business processes. She has done keynote speakers at various platforms, including HR Summit, Expo, SME Summits, etc. Let us all brace ourselves to this opportunity to be inspired by DTM Jaya Bhatia to fuel up our career beyond 2020. Let's hear it for her.
Thank you all. First of all, I feel so privileged to see all of you coming here, because you could have been anywhere in the world, but then you have chosen to be here because I can see that you all are sincere with your career. And when you give your time to someone, I believe that is the best thing that you can ever offer. So if you have given me your time today, I'll make sure that I'll leave no card unturned to see that you have a complete value of the time that you're giving me. With this note, let's start our today's session. I hope my screen is visible. Can MC show me the thumbs up? Are we good to go? Lovely, excellent. All right, so here we are. I mean, we have Diwali coming in, and still we are keen and we are focused towards our career. Just let's go ahead and take a very quick look, which was very well said by our MC. All I want to do is, after my retirement, is to see that I have enough time for my books to be written down that I've been writing for over a decade now. I can complete and roll it out. So that's where we are. Okay, so let's get to the point. Now we say that, you know, today's session, we will be taking into 3 different sections. So we are looking at people who have just started the business, or perhaps we're planning to start the business, and what kind of challenges they could be facing. And those who are already in the midway, and if they are senior level professionals who are considering whether we should call it off or we should continue, and what we should continue with. So today we're going to take to 3 different levels, and I'll try to be as relevant as I can to all of you and all your different years of experience or eras that you are into. We'll focus on to how to go with career planning. We will go with job hunting techniques to see that how you get across to the job, and we will look into what kind of tools and how you will excel your benefit with those tools. But we will use a very different approach towards that. So I'm not going to bring in things that you've already heard and understood already. We all know that. We'll try to bring in the new edges, how you would be able to stand out with. So let's get started. Are we ready? Can we see the thumbs up from everyone? Lovely. So the moment we think of getting started with our program, over here there are a few handouts that I have prepared for you all. And Master of Ceremony, and I request the Zoom Master to go ahead and keep on posting it onto the chat so you could download. So handout material is the entire session where you would want to take a notes to. And there is a design your job hunting strategy, and I'll take you through how you would be using that. Let's go ahead and do this. We will change our names with your name and the job title. With this, I'll come to know who all I have in the room and how I can bring the best content and be relevant to you all. At the same time, when you will ask me the questions, because you can ask me the question across the webinar. So when you ask me the question, I would know which particular job that you are targeting, and that will give me a good ability to go ahead and respond back to them. And I might be calling you to speak, come over and speak your question. So please do that. Yeah. So here we are. Are we ready to get started? Let's move ahead. So the moment you think of job hunting nowadays, I mostly see the first question comes is, where do we start from? Where do we start from? I mean, where are we? I mean, what's next coming in? So let's go ahead and see, where we are at the moment. I consider, I'm looking at the list of people who are here today, and I'm seeing majority of you are from UAE. Is there someone who is not from UAE? I'm trying to find out. Yeah, show me your hand if you're not from UAE. I mean, you have to show the camera, yeah? I mean, before you do that. Okay. So when you think of where you're, oh, okay, good. So we have people coming in from international, lovely. So we'll try to be relevant to that. So let's just understand, if you're looking at the UAE market or if you're coming in from a different market, try to understand what is the job market scenario. Since majorly we are here from the UAE, let's just understand. In UAE, we see that we are 9.5 million of a population, which is actually in the working professionals, yeah? 202 nationalities in the labor market. So in any other country, so when we come back from India or Philippines or whatever country, we see there are hardly, less than 20 nationalities that we deal with across, across our life. But over here, we are 202 nationalities already in the labor market. 17% are the only UAE nationals, whereas 83% are the expat workers. We are anticipating the World Expo in 21, so we do have a light at the end of the tunnel on the positive note. But still the question remains there. I mean, where do we start from? Let's bring some bright light on that over here. Let's just find out few answers. You know, when we think of where do we start from, let's get some more W's from there. Like, who is hiring at the moment? Let's just find out that. Let's find out what are the market salary standards, because as soon as pandemic has hit, we see people just clashing the salaries to anything. I mean, mostly the corporates, they're just clashing it up. So today in this session, I'll help you how to go ahead and gauge out your salary as well. Where should I search? Yeah, these are the answers that you will find today. When can I get the job? How much time is required for that? And whom should I seek help from? All right, we need to be very careful in today's market because we know there are a lot of blunders around. Companies have came and gone after messing up within a couple of years. Do not get into any of those traps. If anybody is asking you money for interview, for job, please stay out of it because they really have nothing. They really have nothing. So do not get into that. Okay, so we all know clubs. We all know Toastmasters clubs. We know. But today I'm going to change your grammar. So it's kind of a word of a day. All right. So we will change the spelling of club today. All right. It will no more be club during this session. It will be KLB. You know why? Because I'm going to make it simple for you all. Let's just change that a little bit. It's a word of the day. Remember that. And we need to use it as much as we can probably. So let's just go ahead and see what does this club KLB means. Club in very simple form means, the first word means know it. Now, what do you need to know it if you're going for the job market and when you're looking for the job? You need to know, what job do I want? You need to find out that answer. What is that particular position that I most qualified for and what am I going for? Where do I want it? Which industry, which city, which country is the best suited for me? So have a very specific target. Again, make sure that you understand why you, and you're able to tell that. Why am I telling you to be very specific is because we all know being specific is terrific. So when you become very specific with the position that you're going to target and the place and the company that you're going to target into or the industry that you're going to target, you would have a clear vision to start walking towards it. And that's what we're going to do today. So let's just find out what position would be the best fit for you. I have given you a handout and you already have a job hunting strategy planner with you. If you will download and keep it in front of you, it'll give you a bigger help. So just identify what is the best position that I want to target. Now, I know many of us, we think that we are good for any position, but let's not do that. Let's be specific. Let's find out what are the top 3 job roles that I'm most suited for. Because if you're looking out the best salary, then you need to offer your best. And offering your best could only be for 1, 2, or not more than 3 positions that you would want to focus on to. So keep those just 3 positions in that strategy planner. Again, we need to know what industry is most suitable for. So if I would look at our audience today, I can see many of you are coming in from sales and business development. Now, if it is so, then what industry would suit you best? Which is the industry that you would want to work with? Keep that target very clear in front of you. Time frame you have in hand. So sometimes on an employment visa, you have less than a month to go ahead and look for a position. Some of us are privileged who are on the husband's, father's, or family visas, and we have a little more time to look around for. At the same time, some on the visit visa have even less period. So make sure that you have a clear understanding.
You've gone mute.
Okay. I'm seeing a lot of people are admitting, and it is giving me reminders. So I'll try to avoid doing that. Okay. So, okay, make sure that you have an absolute clarity with the context fair. So if you were looking for a position in engineering, then who would be my context fair? Would that be just an HR? It's not always an HR. HR would be hiring, but then your supervisors, your expected or prospective supervisors are also a very good context fair to be in touch with and keep on tabbing on them if you're looking for a job. It's okay to reach them out. So if you are targeting a position as an engineer, find out who are the project managers, find out who are the senior engineers in the town, and keep in contact with them. Know your SWOT. Now we all know what the SWOT is. It's the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat. Consider yourself a product and look at it. What are my strengths, weaknesses? What would be my opportunities in the market? And what are the threats that I'm working with? If you have your SWOT done very well, you would be able to figure out much of these answers very clearly. Know your market worth. So at times we become so disparate, or at times we become so fishy about picking up the position that we let the good position go or pass by us. Now, today we'll try to identify what would be a true worth when we will come to the strategy. At the same time, your target employers. So I remember that there was this one particular person who was looking as a job as an astronaut in UAE. Now we do know what the possibilities are and how you would want to go ahead and switch your industry or your jobs if you are at the place where you would not find the relevant position. So having a clarity would help you in how to alter yourself. So I'm not saying that an astronaut cannot be placed in UAE. I'm saying that you may not be placed exactly as an astronaut, but at a position where you will be able to give your best with your skills and experiences that you have if you are forced to be in UAE, or if it's the need of an hour for you to be at the place where you don't have the exact position that you're looking at. All right, I hope all of you are getting the handouts and we are not facing any technical issues over there. If somebody has it, let me know. So that's the planner that I have given you out. We will see that we will bring in our targeted job based on the industry and based on your place that you're going to look at. Now, when you go ahead and plan out your strategy, we definitely want to see what are the best qualifications required for the job. So we're not looking at what qualifications we already have. We are looking at what qualifications are required for the job that I'm going to target. So if you were targeting a position of an robotic engineer, just for an example, you would see what are these job postings asking for, and you would fill out this planner. So it's basically what's in demand, not what you basically have, so that you can match up that whether I have that skill or I need to have an improvement, like I need to achieve a certain skill, and then how much time I can allocate as of today to get that particular qualification, skill, or that experience, and what is my target date. Because when you do not have a target date, basically loose end or open-ended targets does not make any sense. You don't achieve anything out of it. So if you see that I was looking for a position A, which requires certain qualification and I do not have it, work around how I'll achieve that qualification if you want to excel in that particular job. At the same time, every job that is available in the market have minimum 7 skills required. This is how the jobs are defined. So there would be at least 7 skills required. Now I have over here fed in 2 mandatory skills which are most needed. And I think most of our Toastmasters are learning those skills aggressively, which is English business writing and communication and presentation skills. These are the top-notch required skills when you're looking for a job. And if Toastmasters, that's what they are excelling, that's what they are learning every single day. That's why I always highly recommend Toastmasters to consider job hunters to join Toastmasters, because they really get help out of it. But then you will figure out all your skills required for it, experience. If you do not have a relevant experience, still try to go ahead and offer your services to your company. So say if you were in say finance and you wanted to move towards HR, or you were in admin and you wanted to move towards finance, go ahead and speak out to the head of that particular department that you're targeting. Offer your services as a volunteer so that you would be able to learn. Pick up a part-time internship with them. Tell them, okay, I want to learn something over here and I would like to offer if you need any help with any upcoming projects. Go ahead and offer yourself. Even though if you do not have a position, go ahead and volunteer. Offer yourself, for the positions that you want to target. And again, if you're a Toastmasters and looking at leadership position, looking at PR position, then you know what to do. You will simply ask for a role in your club to practice, to learn. So that adds upon to your experience, that gives you confidence in going ahead and achieving those jobs soon. So keep that in mind. All right, I hope we are very clear with this particular strategy planner over here. So all of that listing out every job that you're targeting. So if you have 3 job postings, you will fill up 3 of these planners, what they are looking for. Do I have it? Do I need improvement? What is my action plan? When I say action plan, it is very specific. How many hours a day? How many? It can be half an hour. Okay, but every day. Make sure that you keep on progressing every day on that particular skill. When we keep it for a week and then we skip that one day in the week, we really miss that out. So if you're aggressive for a job hunting, or if you're learning certain skill, have a daily planner. Make sure like you have a cup of tea, or you have a shower, you work towards your skill on a daily basis. That is the commitment that you give to yourself. Again, have a specific target date. So for example, you were learning, say, if I wanted to learn a skill, I would give myself a target of saying at least 40 hours of learning. And to do that, I need 40 days in my hand. Or I need to excel by saying, okay, I would give at least 20 hours a week if I have to, and I will finish it in 2 weeks. So not having more than a month for finishing a skill, and making sure that you're giving at least 30 hours. So if that's the commitment, you will excel very fast. Your mind will start rolling towards it. So I'll leave this here. If you have more questions, you will ask me. All right. So now we are very clear with what we're going to know it. Again, if you know it, you know what position I'm good for. If you know what industry that I'm going to be more suitable for. So the moment that thought comes to your mind that I'm going to apply for that job, do that analysis by using your strategy planner. If you think I'm scoring, I'm getting all the good marks over there, then you will start targeting. Once you have that absolute clarity that where I am heading towards, now will be the time that you will think of letting them know. Yeah. So when you talk of a club, that's the L that you mean, letting them know. Let's simplify it. What are we letting them know and how are we letting them know? So letting them know with your job hunting documents. We all know that the first job hunting document is resume, and it's such a big industry. I have seen people talking about, when they talk of the formats and don't put your picture on the left. This is haram. This is kharab. Put it on the other side. Please do not listen to any of that crap. I have never seen anyone refusing the candidate on the design, whether your picture is on the left or your picture is on the right. I have, in my career of 30 years as a recruiter, I've dealt with over 200,000 companies, and no one ever told me, Jaya, I won't hire this person because his picture was on the left. It really didn't matter. Or he had a purple color in his resume. It never happened. It is all about your skills. If you know it, sit down yourself. There are many, many places where you could go ahead and make your own resume, hardly $23, $24, and you would have a beautiful formats with you. Formats are important, but they are not everything. Everything is your skill, is your experience, is your knowledge. Make sure that you're not missing anything that you just figured out in your strategy planner, and you will write down all of those skills within the first half of your resume. Yes, first half of your resume. It's that important. So your qualifications, your skills that you have for that particular job, your experience, all of that should be there in the first half of your resume. You can later go ahead with chronology of your experiences. You can go ahead with the chronology of your educations in detail, but your top-notch education, like your summary, for example, So you would summarize yourself, I'm having so many total years of experience. So in your first half is the most important part of your resume. Do not go ahead and break it by putting everything over there, just the top notch. So what is my total years of experience? What's my current or my targeted position? What is my updated or the latest education or the qualification I have? And that's all you'll focus on to. Rest everything. So if I had started from something and then I am at another position, keep that for the second half or the second page of your resume, but not in the first half of your CV. First half of your CV should always focus on your target. It should be laser specific. As I said, specific is terrific. So only focus on that. When we write too much in the first half, it goes away. You know why? It's not for the eyes. Eyes will happen later, but before it reaches to the recruiter eyes, it goes through indexing. Like you index your every email that comes in, all your resumes are getting indexed. And in indexing, it only takes hardly 350 characters of your resume from the beginning. And that's where your resume would be searched from. If you will write down your first position, so say you started as a data entry operator, but today you are operation manager, but you are still writing the data entry operator in the first half of your resume, you may get calls as a data entry operator. It may happen. So avoid any of those things from the first half of your resume. Keep it later. Keep the chronology and put it over there. So I try to focus on things which no one tells you when it comes to resume. Rest, I think everyone knows there is so much content and we know how to go for it. All right, the second important job hunting document is social media profile. Many of job hunters I've seen, they actually miss on social media profile. So if it is a LinkedIn, if it is your Facebook profile, make sure that you have your updated qualification and your updated position or your target position written over very well over there. At the same time, your summary is very important. As I said, that those 350 words, those are very important, which should reflect your job hunting strategy planner, should again be part of your summary over here. This is what, and if you're looking for a job and if you are not employed at the moment, LinkedIn also allows you to declare that I'm out and about for a position. Do that. LinkedIn is the most powerful tool that you could use for job hunting. In my career, I guess over 30% of positions I would place through LinkedIn. And that's, I think, the case with many of the recruiters. And that's what it happens. So never miss to have your LinkedIn profile in place completely and see that you are over excelling on that part. So if you're a senior level professional, or if you're coming in somewhere from a technical background, make sure that you have your portfolio ready, and the link is always given in your resume. Portfolios are a very important tool where you can talk about your skills, not just write it down, but display them. So make sure that you create these portfolios and make sure that you have your best of the work over there. And professional websites. Yes, this is in trend today. Nowadays, because everything goes online, people avoid sending mails because there's too much of data, challenges that everyone faces. If it is online and a simple resume with a link being given, you could actually communicate a lot with the employers over here. And there are many simple websites, almost free or no money. You could easily, within an hour, create your own website. If you are someone who has enough skills or you have creative skills to be able to show online, never miss on that important tool. That definitely helps you. I would like to emphasize more on the social media profile. If you're using social media, make sure that you also use enough of the job listing portals, because job listing portals are a very quick place where you would find a quick position. It's just that don't get into those traps. Just see where they are not having too many of advertisements around. If you find a portal where there are too many ads around, then you know that you're on a trap. But if you see a job portal where there are no advertisements, no third-party advertisements there, then go ahead with that. It definitely is a big money for the portal. But if you have ever been to my job portal, you would see in the 30 years of career, I had 0 banners over there, because only one objective for us was to get the candidate for the position. So the sincerity of the job portal, you would be able to gauge it from how many ad material is there. If they do not have that material, you know they are sincerely doing their work. So follow that part. Again, if you have a content from your industry to write down as a blogs or have a vlogs, please do that. You know, that really gives you a lot of credibility in front of the employers, and that is very well preferred. And if you are blogging or vlogging, please do mention them in your resume that you are doing that. Yeah, so that's a very important aspect again. I generally get asked this question, you know, how do we excel our interviews? Because that's very challenging. You know, it's probably still easy to know, you know, what we are. It's very easy to even write it down. But again, presenting, you know, sometimes become challenging. As a Toastmasters, I know we are very good at presentations. We are very good at speaking our mind. We're very good at speaking impromptu. That is something that we all know. But still, there are many challenges which we come across. And we'll try to bring in something very positive over here today. You know, dressing is very important. Many times we simply dress as in, you know, we just casually dress and we walk in for the interviews. But I would say that when you go for an interview, if you are going for a personal meeting or if you're going online, dress for the job. So if your job is going to be as an engineer, dress accordingly. You do not really need to be suited for that matter, because you're going to be somebody who's going to be hands-on on the job, and try to be dressed in that form. So if you're a doctor, you could dress accordingly. If you are a creative person, you dress accordingly. So it's okay to dress for the position, for the job that you're going in for. It's not always required to have formals. I know we've heard this enough. We've heard this too much enough to see that, okay, you have to dress in a certain way. I would say dress for the success of your job. Dress for that particular purpose when you're going in. If you're creative, be creative in your dressing. Just be yourself, because you is the person that interviewers want to see. You is the person that employer needs to see. So be yourself when you go for an interview. Again, if you're going for an online interview, there are a few points that I would like to bring in. Today, I would say that we all have become expert at online meetings, online presentations. But when it comes to interview, you don't want to hide behind the screen or the picture. You want to come up. You want to be active. You want to be assertive. You want to be presented well, because help another person, help the interviewer to be able to select you. And you would only do that by excelling his experience of interviewing other candidates. So be as lively as you could when you go for an interview. Do not hesitate to use a proper handset, a proper tools required, because you need absolute clarity. You do not want to make faces and ask your interviewer to repeat their words again and again. So make sure that technology-wise you have proper, hands-free, you have a handset that you're able to hear the interviewer nicely, and you are even heard properly. Just keep that in mind. Again, whenever you're going for the interview, make sure that you have your hands available, because you need to present things at certain time, and you would want to be seen. You would want to see that your paper, if you're writing it down, so it gives them a very real feeling of it. So especially for interviews, do it that way. Keep it as lively, as active as you could be. Use your bit of vocal variety. You can use various ways by keeping some of the videos ready which were about you, and you could play that out. You could show him or her your profile or your online website by sharing the screen. So keep it interactive, so you stand out from other candidates that they have been interviewing, to see that you achieve the milestone that you're there for. Psychometric testing. Show me a hand. How many of you have already been through the psychometric testing? Can I have a show of hands? How many of you have already been through it? Have you been through skills tests online? Oh, wow, many of us can see. Lovely. Okay, so psychometric tests are very important. And nowadays, especially when we are not able to, as a recruiter, are not able to meet the candidates in person, many of them have switched or have given more weightage to psychometric testing, because it is able to find out your current state of mind, your current way of thinking, and analysis of your skills. So B, if you want to really excel that part, I know very little has been written or spoken about psychometric testing, and I wanted to give you 3 good keys that will help you to excel your psychometric testing. If you're going for a psychometric testing and it's been scheduled, first of all, there is nothing to get stressed about. I have seen if anyone who goes across, and they have a stress during the psychometric test, considering, oh my God, it's my first time, I don't know how it's going to be. And more of that impulsiveness, which actually give bad results. And the same person, when they come in a calm and a peaceful environment and they approach the same test, their results are very different. So if at all you are getting stressed, try to find out a music that's alpha music, which will help you at least 20 minutes before your psychometric testing. You'll find so much of alpha music available on YouTube. You could just hear it out when you're going for the interview. It's such a great thing to do. So calm yourself down. Do not get into anything else before you go for psychometric tests or interviews. Try to keep at least half an hour advance. So you get there, you get on the premises, or you're getting ready. Calm down yourself and not get stressed. Only then you will be able to show true self, to be able to get across to the results that you want. Again, at the same time, the second thing I would want to tell you is when you're going for a psychometric test, is just going to read what you basically are. So there's nothing that can prepare you anymore. All you have to do is just be yourself. And it will tell you, because it's not only for the recruiter to find out whether you're the right person, but also for you to find out what my skills are, what my strengths are. So when you're in the process of job hunting, it's not only that I have to qualify for my recruiter, but also you have to see that the job that you're considering should qualify according to you for your career. That's why we are doing the whole job hunting strategy, to see whether this job qualifies according to my skills. So it's not you who is not suitable for a job, it's the job that's not suitable for you. Yeah, keep it that way. So then if this job is not suitable for me, which one it is? So keep the command in your hand. That will give you an altogether a different state of mind when you will go out and about and hunt for that one job that you are most suitable for. Your confidence level will be at an absolutely different level then. Again, we have to find out, we have to be very clear and we have to be very emphasizing on why me. So if we have identified the job, why me? What am I going to bring extra to this particular job? Yes, of course, there are 10 jobs for each candidate and there are 10 candidates for each job, we say. But then there is only that one person who is the most suited from the list. So you have to have that answer like on your sleeves all the times. So when you go for an interview, when you're meeting them, have that answer with you. Why me? Why is it that I'm going to be the best person for this job? And what is it that I can bring best from this position? Or what is it that I'm able to bring best in this position? Keep that answer on your sleeve so that whenever it comes in, you are able to tell them. So it's just the psychological impact that if you know it, you are able to convey it. But if you have to sit down there and find out, then it's more challenging. And if you know it, your confidence is at altogether a different level then. So with our club, we already know K and we know the L. What could the B be? It's very simple. It's being positive. I cannot emphasize enough on what it calls for being positive. I would like to stop sharing my screen and probably spread a little bit of my positivity to you all. So I just can't emphasize enough. I have never seen any positive results coming out from negative thinking. So if you're going for a job with a mindset, I don't know. I don't know where I'm heading. I don't know whether I'll get that. I have never seen a good result coming out. So if you are expecting a good result, if you really want a good result coming over, your positivity is the optimum need. It may happen that you did not have a particular skill with you that the job was looking for, but you were so passionate about the position you wanted. You were so carried away with what job would bring to you or what you could bring to the job. And if this is seen within you, this is seen by the recruiter or by the employer in you, trust me, they will definitely give you the opportunity to speak up. They'll definitely try you out for that position. I have seen that. In my career, I have seen many a times where employers would have 100% qualified candidate, but less motivated to work, and then would have 90% qualified candidate, but 200% motivated to work. And they would hire that person. Trust me, they would hire that person who was 90% qualified, but was absolutely motivated, but was bringing a lot of positivity to the job. And employer or the team leader or the recruiter just knew that this person would go miles to achieve what he had to achieve to get that job. If you have that, that particular thing in you, probably you will get the position. There are more chances of you getting the position. This is how we've seen recruitment being done. So, and if there was somebody who said, yes, I know that I don't have a particular skill, I have an awareness about it, but then now I'm already learning the skill. So let me give you a simple example. I had this candidate who wanted to work as a security manager, and he had good experience across the region, but he did not have experience working in UAE. In UAE and in his country, the standard of security used to be very different then. The requirement of the job said that a person should have at least 7 years experience of health and safety or security in this industry, because they will have to go through that particular exam and test. When I met this candidate, I felt that he had that thing in him because he was a good leader. He knew very well about all the protocols. He had studied about UAE's security protocols. And he did not have a certification, but he assured me that he's studying that. And if given an opportunity for exam, he will just pass it out within a week's time. So I went ahead and proposed him to the client, and client also gave him a chance looking at the comments. And when he met him, the candidate was so convincing. He just went ahead and explained him that what are the SWOT analysis that he's done for himself, and he knows what the weaknesses are. So employer called me up and said, Jay, I'm hiring him because he knows what his weaknesses are and he's already working towards it. If you are not aware of your weaknesses, then you're not doing anything about it for sure. And if you're not doing anything about it, you're not achieving anything out of it. So always it's okay. So when they ask you, what are your weaknesses? I know many of them have told you, dodge that question by saying, I am too much time bound. So that's not your weakness. When you do that, recruiter or the employers, they're very smart. They just know that you're dodging that question. Know your weakness and tell them your truth. Tell them this is my weakness. I panic when it comes to pressure, or I'm scared of doing presentation. So it's okay to have weaknesses. We're all human. No one is perfect over here. Speak out of your weaknesses. And along with your weaknesses, let them know what are you doing to overcome those, and always have a plan. If you have a weakness and you don't have a plan, now that's another weakness. So if you have a weakness, make sure there is a plan to overcome that. Every time you would have one, like there would be something or the other. There is always room for improvement within yourself. Keep working towards it. So as I say, 3 good tips to remember. That number 1, that you would keep yourself absolutely positive. Number 2, you would make sure that you know your weaknesses more than your strengths, and you will keep working towards it. And number 3, you will be vocal about it. Let your team leader, let your mentor in your organization know that you have this weakness and you're working towards it. Again, there is a benefit of mentorship, and as Toastmasters, we know what is the benefit of it. We would go ahead and appoint a self-mentor. So have a commitment in your club or in your friends, have a mentor or have somebody as a buddy whom you're answerable to about how you are progressing towards your weaknesses. I have, I've seen the benefit of a mentorship like anything. And today I definitely would want to, I can hear there are a lot of noises. Is everyone muted, please? Can Zoom Master help me muting, please? Thank you so much, Zoom Master. It was very quick. Okay, so make sure that you have a buddy or you have a self-appointed mentor around you. It can even be your parent, your spouse, your children, anyone who whom you're responding and telling them what I've done today. Why did I miss that? What happened? Just appoint somebody to report to on your growth. So I think I have given quite a lot of keys and clues today, and they were all different because there's too much being said and heard when it comes to job hunting. My job was today to bring you insights that will help you to move further. Be it pandemic, be it non-pandemic, job market will always remain the same. You would always remain the same. Your positivity will make a lot of difference over here. So let's focus on to 3 major points. So I could simplify it for you all. So job hunting being simplified to the club, which is know it, let them know, and be positive. That's what I would like to call upon. I know we are known to our clubs so far. You know, all these years we know there are many clubs. From today, remember one thing, that when you become a Toastmasters, and if there are any non-Toastmasters over here, then I would advise you to go ahead and join Toastmasters because they can help you to excel in the club. At the same time, if you are the Toastmaster, give a pat to yourself because you've done the right thing. If you are a Toastmaster, you would keep on growing the skills that you're most needed in the job market today, and you will excel that. I can see we are pretty much on the time, and I have left about 30 minutes over here. Few minutes over here for your Q&A. And I'm trying to find out if there were any questions being asked and if I can respond to that. If Zoom Master can help me with the questions.
We have much.
Can help me with the questions?
Toastmaster Robin?
Yeah, hi, I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
here. Toastmaster Jaya, yes, we have some questions. So do we straight away go with the questions? You're okay?
Yes, of course.
Okay, fine. I will just share.
Am I going to get a list of questions? Can I pick
No,
from them?
I
Do
will
have it
ask you the questions.
Okay.
I will ask you the questions which I've received. So
All
first
right.
of the questions is from Toastmaster Lakshmi. She
Okay.
says she's an MBA with 2 years experience and is from, she is specialized in human resource and marketing and is looking for an online job. So she has 2 years experience and MBA also.
Right.
So how
Absolutely.
can we help her?
So, all right. So yes, of course, it has online jobs and virtual job, possibilities have opened such an, greater area for all those who had the challenges in working earlier. And it's an, blessing in disguise, I would say, due to pandemic. If you are looking for a position in human resources, and I don't know which country that you're looking for, and if the labor law would matter to that country, if it is in the UAE, then even though you would just start learning the UAE labor laws, because that plays a very important role, and understanding the challenges that currently human resource department is facing. Like if I would give you just top 3 challenges that they are facing in the industry, would be managing the virtual teams, how would they go ahead and keep employees motivated, or how would they handle the remuneration or the reporting at this time. So whatever position that you might be looking for, if you were the engineer, then you would know what are the 3 top challenges that particular job could face due to pandemic. Keep those in hand and prepare yourself for that. You don't have to be on the job to be prepared. You have to be prepared so that you can be at the job. So consider, if you were, okay, anyone who's looking for a job, then you should assign at least 8 hours for your job hunting. That is very important. Consider I'm on a job of job hunting. 8 hours plus 2 hours of your commutation, give it to job hunting. Let us see how you don't get a job within 48 hours. Let's just see to it. Yeah. So make sure that every day you sit down and you update your profile. You're connecting to the right person in HR or whatever position that you're looking for. Connect with that contact sphere on a daily basis. Drop them a short message. Let them know that you're looking for a position and what's available around. Get in touch with the industries that you're going to work with. So if you have an identified industry, say manufacturing or banking, keep in contact with them. So be it an HR or any position, know your 3 challenges. Give at least 8 plus 2 hours for your job hunting daily if you are not having a position. If you haven't position, you're looking for a switch, minimum 2 hours to your job hunting. It's kind of a prescription, you have to do it. Another thing, make sure that you keep yourself positive. As I said, I cannot emphasize enough on the positivity. Be positive when you're going for job hunting. That is going to make a lot of difference to you. What's the next question?
Thank you for that answer. Now we have another interesting question, I think, which I think a lot of Toastmasters would also be posing to you is, how much is age a factor when you're looking for a job? And is there a cutoff where you say now it's a full stop, you can't find a job?
Good question. Very well applied. So age is only a number. It does not matter. But then, yes, for every position, so job is basically a bunch of tasks, right? Each job has to do a bunch of tasks, maybe 10, 20, 56, up to 56 tasks in one position. So it's only a bunch of tasks. Now, if the age is a matter to any of those tasks. So for example, the age, or you have to have certain energy to be able to attempt to a particular task, or if it is with the decision making, or if it is something to do with the runaround or physical activity required for a particular job, then it would matter. But to work, I mean, until what age to work? I mean, we are in an era where we have 7 generations in one go at the moment. Those who are 17 years of age, so, that era, and then we have people who are, in the age, in the mid-levels, which are from 35 to 45, 45 to 55. Even after 55, we have career. So until 70 to 75 years of age, people are still in the job market. This is the one good thing about this era, is we have almost 5 generations working in the job market today, and they're working very comfortably. So if this would not be a position of, for example, as an engineer, it would be as an, advisory engineer. It would be as a partner to the company, or as an HR partner maybe. So you will always find another position. So it's not that you have to retire from working, you have to retire from a particular one job and go to another job that works best for you. That's how you would want to see. So look at the task that your job has to do and see that if you are, if your age allows you to do that, you should go ahead and look into another position where you do not have that as a factor bothering you. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, thank you. I think it was very elaborate, and I think all of the Toastmasters need not worry, because if you're a Toastmaster and you're a Toastmaster leader, you're already busy and doing all those activities. So why can't you do it with a job? So now we have another interesting question. This is from Dr. Joe Veer. He says that in some jobs, it is legislative requirement that must be met. How do we deal with that? And if interview is round the corner, what can we do about it?
Yeah, I think I partially touched base to your, question in middle, but yes, we can give a little more emphasis on that. So yes, I mean, if you have to be a doctor or engineer or, many positions, there are certain tests required to do, and you cannot do that test unless you have an NOC from an employer. So it's like, hen and egg situation. You don't know what comes first. So the best way for you to approach is basically prepare yourself for the test. So you can start studying for that. You could start preparing, and especially for doctors, you can actually give a DHA exam or MOH exams. Even if you're not in the country, you have online possibility now. You could attempt that, and DHA allows you to give the exam, to qualify in the exam, to pass the exam, and get the NOC to get your certificate released, or your license released. So you could then definitely do that. And majority of the a majority of these courses which I know, be it engineer or health and safety, nowadays they allow you to do that. You could study, you could attempt an exam online, and you could attempt exams at your own cost. And once you've qualified it, they give you the mark sheet or the result. You go ahead to your employer, or whenever you speak to an employer, they'll give you a preference because you've already qualified all of that. And once you have your appointment letter in your hand and your NOC, you could go ahead and get your certificate. That's how you can break that ice in that case. Yeah.
That is amazing. So do your homework, be proactive. I think these are the two things we should definitely do. Sure. Now we have the question from the division director. So, this question is, how do you switch to different learning module when age is not on your side and the current industry you are in is getting redundant? So what do you do about it?
How do you switch to?
switch to another different kind of a job which requires different
Position.
skill sets, and you're running out
All
of
right.
time in terms of age. So what do we do
Okay,
about it?
so okay, I understand that we are trying to change a job over here. So I mean, he's asking on behalf of the person who's trying to change a job. You should never change a job to the position where you do not have a skills. All right. So if you're planning to have a career change, then you must start working for it much in advance. You would only think, you can plan to change a job and start getting the skills across. Once you have a skills, then you will make a move. Don't burn your bridges. Don't try to jump to a position by saying, I'm going to work from here to there, and you do not have a skill. So the first step, as I said, was the career planning. Then comes the job hunting, and then comes, getting into the action. So first thing would be plan it out. So if you want to target a particular position, you will see what is the qualification required. Do I have it? Or the skills required, or the experience required, and how you would acquire that. Once you have it, only then you make a move. Do not burn your bridge by just simply moving to that career. Have it with you, know it that I'm ready with it. Only then move forward with your job hunting, and then you start acting upon it. Yeah. So the first part, as I said it, know the skills that are required and easily acquired skill. So let me give you one example. What I'm more afraid of that if there are, say somebody was looking for a job as a PRO now today, and the person wasn't coming in from an Arabic background, right? It'll be very difficult for this person to get into that job because somebody has to learn, read and write Arabic. So you should have that much time. So your target should be very realistic and relevant to what you could achieve in the time frame that is required for you to get a job. If you need a job within a couple of months or couple of weeks or maybe days, most of the times, do not go for a career change which will take more than that, or you will have to compromise in your salaries, because salary is an exact quantum of your skills and the tasks that you will be able to perform. So less number of tasks that you perform, less salary that you would be able to expect. So if you cut down too much on that, if you go to a position where you do not have that much skills to offer, your salary would compromise on that.
Okay. Jaya, we have a few more specific questions, so I'll take some specific questions which are more, very specific. Like, do recruiters in UAE use ATS softwares to go through resumes? If so, how do we optimize our resumes in order to stand out in these ATS softwares? It is from Toastmaster Akhila Ajit.
Oh yes, if a recruiter isn't using that, I think then they're not even are of a recruiter, because ATS isn't mandatory, and you cannot read those thousands of resumes coming on a daily basis, and you need to screen it out. And if you're not fishing in the good pond, if you do not have enough fishes, you won't find the right person. So it is the need of an hour for a recruiter to have that. Many of the softwares, the one that we had developed ourselves and we were using it, the moment you apply for a position, at the same moment it used to read those 350 words and would look at the keywords that are required for that job. So if I was hiring a robotic engineer, what were the keywords I was looking for? It will match it up. And within the same minute, before you have clicked up, from your mouse, it tells the system that this person has 80% skills relevant, 50% skills relevant, and marks the status according to it. 80% qualified, 50% qualified, 10% qualified, or 100% qualified. And then it marks the status for you, successful, unsuccessful. Based on that, it gives you an opportunity to take an appointment with the employer straight up, or takes you to the next level. So ATS is the air that a recruiter or any employer would breathe. I mean, forget ATS. I mean, in your Outlook itself, it uses only ATS at the moment, is the indexing that is happening. If you go to LinkedIn, what it is ATS again. It is again indexing you and bringing you up. So even a normal employer who would want to start looking for a particular position would still search a resume. He or she would not read 100 or thousands of resumes on a day. They will still search. Indexing is that important. That's why I give so much time on the first half of your resume, 350 words only to the target. Don't give that 350 words to anything, from your past, just to your future, just to your targeted position. Keep it to that.
So targeted position and keywords are very, very important, and especially
very important.
350 words. So thank you for that. Now, there was an interesting question about psychometric tests and how are they relevant to a job. how do people use psychometric tests to probably, approach interviews?
I said a lot of it now. I'll try to bring in a new avenue and something that I wanted to say, but I couldn't because of the time. So of course, when you go for psychometric test, if you want to excel that, make sure that you're calm, you are not puzzled, you are not fizzed up with things around you. So being calm would give the best results, because psychometric test is only trying to read your current state of mind. And it is very relevant today, because it has the ability to ask you this quick 300 questions, or maybe more than that questions, to figure out. And the same thing would be asked many times, and trust me, you can't dodge it. You need to be there. You have to be there to be able to get there. And why does it give a different results in different timings? It's because your state of mind is at a different level. So it's not true state of your entire life. It's a true state of your current situation. How would you take that decision in this moment? That's how it's taking you. Why it is so relevant today? Because it's very difficult for a recruiter. Generally, recruiters are analyzing, assessing you with your body language, with your vocal variety, with the way you're presenting yourself, the way you're walking into the room. These are the skills that we had updated ourselves. But today, all of that doesn't happen. Just your face and you, and we cannot know how much is the makeup, how much is the filter. So it's very difficult. A good recruiter can look at your face and tell you, you are low on water, you are smoking, you are drinking, you wake up late, you have late nights. All of this, they will never ask you if they're a good recruiter. You know how many skills we acquire to do that? You look at the face of a person and you can talk about how friendly this person is. I mean, it's just that much that you put into that. So yes, be careful. Psychometric test is taking edge at the moment because it gives a lot of those answers. And if you have seen the results of psychometric test, and if you sit down, you study it, and then I've seen psychometric tests being done every year by an employer for many positions, and they are so relevant to what we were anticipating this person would be and how they behave in the organization. It's so relevant. I mean, I am lacking out of words for even specifying and putting my weight on it, but I have seen that you hardly miss on it. And if you see that 7 tests have been performed for this particular person and 5 times he was talking of this one mood or in one state of mind, then they are that. It's that relevant. So employers are giving a lot of weightage on that nowadays. And you must see that when you go for this particular test, it will matter a lot in your, in the decision of whether or not to hire you. Generally, employers spend that money when they're at that level and they can't find out in between 2 or 3 candidates. And then they say, okay, psychometric test, let us see what it is. So when you are there, you already know that I've made it. And now I need to perform to my best. Right?
Yeah, I think it's great for self-awareness also. I think if you do psychometric test, it also tells you what is your strength, vis-a-vis certain areas. So that's also
yes, and
important.
So rightly picked up. And if you've done your psychometric test and if you have a result with you, it's okay to share it with your employers. Go ahead and do that and let them know these are the weaknesses and I'm working on it and these are my strengths, because it will then talk about your strengths too. You always have your strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, do that.
Would you recommend, anything which, all the audience can look at, a few psychometric tests which they can, probably proactively take and which can, help them to be aware of themselves?
I would not want to get into the monetary side of it, but then if there are psychometric tests, I would not want to name a brand over here. Okay. Toastmasters should not do that. But then there are many psychometric, we're not trying to sell anything over here. So psychometric tests, if you're looking at and you want to see how should I find out which is the right one for me, then there are tests which has more than 300 questions and most of them are not available for free, for sure. Those who are available on free have a reason, because they are still under research, R&D, and they want to have you as a data. It's okay to go with that. There's no harm in that. They're not going to do any harm to you. But then they're always into the R&D. But those which are very prominent tests, you would see they have 360-degree avenue applied to that. And most of them, they give you the, they give you the ways the reports have been done, where they analyze your skills, your expertism. They also tell you what industries you're most suited in, what positions you're most suited in. So when you look at the results, so it's all about the results. Question anyone can lay it down, but what are you drawing out of it? So when you look at the results and you see they're telling you what industry that you would suit in, what job that you suit in, and the third dimension is basically your skills, then you know that test is going to give you some good benefit. So you can pick that up from all the other tests that you have it.
Okay. Now, Jaya, we have an interesting question about somebody who's had, huge gap in terms of employment. So here we have somebody, I don't want to name the person. The person has had almost 6 years gap and wants to get back into, working. And she is looking for an IT support and IT admin job. So what would be your advice? And she is a BTech and CSC and MSc. So she has the relevant qualification, and she earlier had 8 months and 8 months experience as a developer and 3 years as a section secretary.
Okay. First of all, if you think that 6 years gap is there and what could happen, I have seen people who have never worked in their life at the age of 50 and they just got into the position. You know why? Because they would have the clarity. So don't worry about any number of years or months or days or whatever the gap there is. It would not matter. Yes, recruiter does ask you what were you doing during this gap, what were the requirements, and it's okay. It's okay to be taking break because you had certain family challenges to meet at. It's okay to talk about it. Nobody would reject you because you did not work for 6 years, unless that was the need of a job to have a current experience for that particular position. Again, even though if there was a position that requires a current experience, nobody is stopping you to gain that experience. Even though you don't have a job, you could learn the industry trends. You could still learn what are the challenges in that particular industry. You could still offer yourself as a volunteer to this industry to get hands-on to that. You could read as much as you can. You could still connect with the people who are working in the industry. You could still be in touch with the industry itself. You could visit the exhibitions, the seminars happening from that industry. If you do not have a job and you are looking for that particular position and you have that laser specific target in front of you, this is my position, you should be hired for job hunting for that job. So do not say that I am jobless. Say I am at the moment hired to look for that particular job, and that's what I'm doing. Trust me, if you'll do that for 2 weeks, you would not be jobless. Trust me. 48 hours a week, if you hire yourself that I'm going to work for my job, you will get a job. I mean, you will find out the right job for yourself within that. If you use the strategy that I've given you, you will identify that job. And remember one thing, sometimes we just go back and see, me and my friend, we were both graduated at the same time. He was working, he's getting X amount. I was whatever, I want that amount. It's not going to be that way. So remember that thing, that what you bring on the table is what you take away from the table. How many skills we are bringing, what are the tasks we are bringing, what is the dedication you are bringing, and make sure that you have true worth to that you bring in. So remember, and don't be so, subtle by saying, oh, no, I can't. Talk about what you're bringing in on the table. So, okay, I may not have so-and-so experience, but I have this experience. Knowing your strengths is very important. As important as knowing your weaknesses. So if you think my weakness is that I had this break, if you think so, then you can still have a strength of knowing everything that is happening in the industry. And trust me, if somebody was working at the position and wasn't updated in the industry, and you were there not having current experience, but updated on the industry, you will get the preference. That's how recruitment happens.
Thank you, Jaya. That was very elaborative. Now we have a very interesting question by a Toastmaster. The Toastmaster says, what is the relevance of Toastmasters certifications and the qualifications that you have as a Toastmaster? So people are DTMs here, people have been district director, and some people are even immediate past district directors. So how do you, think their experience will count?
Please write it down in the CV. Some recruiter like me would be looking for you, when a client ever told me, that's how I came to know to Toastmasters, because my client wanted, it was Mercedes-Benz, who wanted a sales executive, who would be good at presenting, presenting online, presenting to the CEOs and CFOs and all of that. And that's where the candidate whom I was hiring was a Toastmaster at that time. this is where it came to my attention many years ago. And then I started looking for, so if a client would come and tell me I'm looking for presentation and communication skills, what would I search for? Presentation communications, which everybody writes it down in the CV. Everybody. I never search that. I always search for TM or Toastmasters because I know they're aware of the weakness and they're working towards it. So do that. Do that. It's a key. If they're smart enough, they'll find you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jay. We have a lot of questions, but I don't think now we have time because we have a few people, Toastmasters, who would like to, share their stories. So we would be going in for the testimonials. But thank you so much, Jaya, for answering everything so elaborately and also encouraging us by telling us how valuable our certifications are. I feel 2 installer now already. So thank you so much for that. And a lot of them, because a lot of them have really worked very hard for their qualifications. So thank you for that. And can we share your email? Because there are some very specific questions which have come. So if that's all right, they may reach out to you.
Okay, so those who want to still ask some questions, if you go on jobhuntglobal.com, there is an absolute free Ask an Advisor section. It has been free forever, and that's what it will be forever as well. So go ahead and submit your inquiries, and I will see that I respond back at least within 2 to 3 working days. Yeah, that happens since ever. That's one column that I always keep because it's close to my heart that I keep on talking to you all. And it's very important to be able to contribute to your success stories. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jaya. So maybe you can just put your email here so that people can probably, the email you just mentioned, so people can reach out and, maybe the website.
I personally would avoid mail and I would want to go through the online form.
Yeah, I meant the online platform. Yeah.
Online form. I'll give in the link over here, which is jobhuntglobal.com/askanexpert. It is as simple as that. Please do that. And I'll see that I leave no card unturned for you guys. Yeah. Anyways, on my website, which is jayabhatia.com, I'm always available. Even though if the company website won't be there, this would be there. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jaya, for being so helpful. Now we have 3 Toastmasters among us who would be sharing their stories and which will motivate us because they've been Toastmasters and in their life, Toastmasters has played a very important role. And so let's hear it from them. And we have 3 Toastmasters from different age group and from different professional backgrounds. So to start with, I would like to invite somebody who I've known very less, but I believe that somebody who is representative of the smart millennial Toastmaster, a young Toastmaster, a charming Toastmaster. She's a Toastmaster from IMT Club Dubai. She's presently based in Hyderabad and is a software marketing professional there. And she has 3 years Toastmasters experience. And she would like to share her story. And she is none other than Toastmaster Shamali. So can we have a round of applause for Toastmaster Shamali?
Thank you so much, DTM Robin, for that wonderful introduction. Good evening, Toastmasters and fellow guests, and thank you for having me here. So to begin with, the main reason for me to join Toastmasters was to improve my communication skills and build my confidence. So I was a girl who used to stand behind the podium and give my class presentations or college presentations during my semesters. So in the month of September in 2017, we had a demo meeting in IMT Dubai campus. And I was actually very hesitant to attend that because I was really scared to step out of my comfort zone and come up and talk to give speeches or address people. But I was really motivated by the first demo meeting in IMT. There were people like Toastmaster Ajita, Toastmaster Samir. They were all there. And from there on, there was no turning back for me. I've been giving speeches, and the best part was I've been part of IMT's IMT Dubai Toastmasters XCOM twice. So as a VPM and as a president. So it helped me to be a team player and understand the dynamics of a team. Though I was studying about it, but it actually helped me to implement the knowledge, whatever I was grasping in my classes. So as an IMT, I think DD Harish and AD Pragnya are here, and Vinod Panikkar, DTM Vinod Panikkar is here. They know how IMT has, there were always ups and downs with our memberships, because whenever our semester starts, all the students used to join, and whenever our semester ends, few students used to go back to India. So it was a very difficult situation for me to handle for 2 years and to run a college club. But I think Toastmasters has always been supportive, the DD team and the AD team. So it helped me to understand the ways to tackle the situations like the difficult situations. Moving on, the third important thing which helped me a lot was networking. Though I've given very less speeches, but I learned a lot by attending different district events, division events, and AD contests and the DD contests which were arranged. So we used to take part as students. It was very helpful for us. Very helpful about these networking events. We used to interact with Toastmasters. They used to guide us as in how's the market, where to apply, where not to. So it was really helpful for us. So that's how Toastmasters helped me, and there's no turning back from 2017, November 21st. And I'm still a part of, though I'm sitting in India, I'm still a part of IMT Dubai. And Toastmasters is one of the reasons which connects me to the college till date. And I'm so glad to be part of Toastmasters fraternity. Thank you. Over to you, DT.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shamli. You have been wonderful. You've shown how the millennials are working. You are in Hyderabad, but you make sure that you're still part of the IMT club in Dubai. So that's wonderful to hear. And now we have somebody who is a practicing doctor, a general physician, and she is also an area director for Area 21. And now, you know, it's not normal times. So doctors are very, very much in the magnifying glass. And she's been doing all that it takes to serve all of us as a doctor. And she has 3 years experience as a Toastmaster. And I've seen her wonderful videos, how she keeps herself fit. She runs around, all her 3 kids. So that's the best way to keep fit. So congratulations to her, because I think we will all trying to climb various things, but she's just running around in her home and she's fit. So that's how you are practical. So let's welcome a very, very renowned creative Toastmaster from Dubai, Toastmaster Dr. Muniba, to share her story. Dr. Muniba, it is strict. You have only 1.5 minutes. So thank you so much.
Good evening, lovely ladies and gentlemen of Toastmasters and non-Toastmasters fraternity. And a very good evening to our charming moderator, DTM Robin, our immediate past district director of District 105. Thank you for the beautiful introduction. When area director Toastmaster Anita asked me whether I would be able to share with you all how Toastmasters have helped me in my career, I was more than happy to do so. Being a doctor, the greatest challenge I faced was not in the proper diagnosis and treatment of the illness. That, by the blessings of Almighty and my academics, it was easy. But to gain the trust of my patients and to treat the patient in the given 5 to 10 minutes of the consultation was a real challenge. Though I didn't join Toastmasters as such to improve these human interaction skills, it really helped me a lot. I could realize the change in the way I converse with them. Never the smile fading, never hesitating to appreciate, never losing my temper, and always gaining their trust with grace. I love my profession, though being a doctor is not at all easy. The most difficult part being that you can't guarantee cure to every illness. See, for example, the pandemic we are facing. But I believe you treat a disease, you win, you lose. But if you treat a person, I guarantee you, no matter what the outcome, you win. And Toastmasters has played a crucial role for me to achieve it. Thank you, and over to you, DTM Robin. It was a pleasure to have of being here.
Thank you so much, doctor. And sorry to put you in a 1.5 test, but you did very well. When the green showed, you ended. So that is amazing. And thank you for all those wonderful words. Now we have a very experienced Toastmaster among us who is 7 years into Toastmasters. He is an entrepreneur. He is into agro business, into hotel business. I think there is some sound coming. So can the Zoom master please control that? So I was saying he's an entrepreneur. He is into agro business. He's into hotel business. And he's, as I said, 7 years into Toastmasters. He's member of multiple clubs, I think 4 clubs. And he is also a mentor and sponsor of different clubs. So he's somebody who is the support system that Toastmaster Shamli was talking about. These are the senior Toastmasters who are the support system of Toastmasters in the district. So please welcome distinguished Toastmaster, a very passionate Toastmaster, DTM Vipin Diwakar, to share his story. DTM Vipin.
Thank you, DTM Robin, for that wonderful introduction. Good evening, all. Good evening, all Toastmasters, Toastmaster Jayabhatia, and all dear guests. Yeah, coming to the Toastmaster. See, I was working with multinational companies in engineering industry especially in valve industry, to be precise, for more than 15 years. But by 2010 onwards, I started to feel a monotonous feeling in my job. My days were mechanical. I wanted more challenges to have that thrill in life. I had experience in valve industry and I wanted to start an engineering trading company. Apart from that, I had a strong passion for cooking, but a restaurant was totally a new thing for me. Anyways, I had a strong passion to become an entrepreneur, to change from employee to an employer. Means I had enough fuel, but for the ignition, a spark is required, and that spark was missing. So what was that spark? The lack of courage to jump into a new field, to take risk. I was lacking confidence to speak out. The most important thing, I was lacking that the power to properly communicate to the people, to the team. The people management, emotional quotient. So I believe people management is the key which lies in the success of any person. If you can't communicate things and convey the message properly to your team, you are going to fail. So then I decided to try out Toastmasters in 2013. I joined Al Nada Toastmasters Club in 2013, and the standing ovation which I received for my P1, the project 1, I did not know that every P1 will get standing ovation, by the way. That appreciation of the club members have given a spark within me, and that helped me to ignite the fuel inside. The prepared speeches, impromptu speeches have really boosted the confidence. The evaluation sessions helped me in critical thinking, listening skills, and the possibilities of continual improvement. The day I joined, I started to search for leadership opportunities in XCOM, then in area. When you are in an XCOM, you are like one of the board of directors of the company. See, when you become a president, you are the CEO of the company, and you are getting an amazing platform to experience the ownership of a company, how to run a company without financially investing in the company. So that is a great asset when you start a company in real life. See, when you are part of a Toastmasters club, you are actually becoming a part of Toastmasters fraternity, wherein you are getting opportunity to meet and make friendships with people from different professions, different culture, different fields, which is nothing but an abundance of learning. So for the members, those who are looking forward to become entrepreneurs, Toastmasters is the right platform to boost your skills which you had already acquired from your past experience, to build confidence, to manage conflicts, to manage people, and what else? To take challenges, to take risks is an art. It depends upon person to person, since some people would like to be in comfort zone, but some others can't stay in comfort zone. Once you decide to take that risk to become an employer, Toastmasters will definitely help you to polish you to face the challenges of the market. Now, every country needs more employees. more risk takers. We are always complaining about no jobs. So also remember, when you are employing, say 25 people, actually you are helping their family too. That means on an average, 100 people are dependent on you. I feel that is a great thing. I'm attending many club meetings, many Toastmaster events, which is nothing but I'm using that to charge my batteries for next few days. I can tell you, I can't get out of Toastmasters in my lifetime. Thanks for this opportunity to speak in this platform. Wish you all a happy Diwali and good luck in your future ventures. Thank you.
Thank you so much, DTM Vipin. So I think today has been an amazing day. I think the ideal start to Diwali celebrations. We've had the fuel from one of the wisest speakers we've had for a long time, who has recognized Toastmasters and all the certifications of Toastmasters, which is Toastmaster Jaya Bhatia. Then we had a very ambitious millennial who told us how Toastmasters had helped her become a software marketing professional. Then we had an empathetic doctor who told us how Toastmasters helped her listen to her patients better and serve the patients better. And then finally, we had a risk taker who has told us that Toastmasters have helped him take risks. So I think all of us can now be, assured that Toastmasters can help us do whatever we want to do. Now, today we also have a very interesting young person here who is somebody who is a product of or a daughter of the first speaker, which is Toastmaster Jaya Bhatia. We have Akansha Bhatia with us. She's all of 20 years and she would like to give a testimony. I'm sure she is a Toastmaster. So let's hear from Akansha Bhatia. Akansha, are you here? Yes, you're here. Yes.
Okay, thank you for that lovely introduction. So to truly understand how Toastmasters has helped me, I would have to start by sharing my personal story. Ever since I could remember, my mom has always pushed me to attend Toastmaster meetings. When I first started with Toastmaster, it was really difficult to see the benefit and truly question it at times. However, it is only when you are put in a tough public speaking situation, you're able to realize how Toastmaster helps you naturally communicate your thoughts in a structured manner. This tough situation came when I actually attended Oxford Academy, in which I noticed that there was a debate contest going on, which started first with an MUN competition in which we were given a country and a political issue, along with 5 minutes to convey our position of the country. Through this competition is where I understood how table topics has helped me speaking impromptu, as we had little to no time to prepare for it. After the MUN contest, I got selected to speak at the ORA debate, in which the judge was Lord William Hague, who's a well-known British conservative politician. In this final debate, my prepared public speaking skills were truly tested, as I had to speak in the Sheldonian Theatre in front of thousands of people that completely surrounded me from all sides. So that was truly a challenge for me, which Toastmaster helped. Even though the competition and debates were not an easy one, I felt that as I didn't have to put much effort into conveying my thoughts or worry about public speaking, as those skills were already inbuilt with me as a Toastmaster. After the debate, I never questioned the power of Toastmasters, as I clearly saw what it could do for me. For people who are starting with Toastmasters or questioning about it, it might take time and practice to get to the level you want, but I guarantee you it will definitely be worth it. Thank you. Over to you, DTM Toastmaster Robin.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akansha, for those wonderful words. I'm sure you have given a lot of inspiration to all the young people who are watching today. And anybody who's not a Toastmaster already, what else do you need? You also get standing ovation, by the way, like Vipin got. It is not a secret. Anybody who goes for the first time to a club and does a table topic speech generally gets a standing ovation. So Vipin, thank you so much for sharing that secret. And now I would like to give back the session in the safe hands of our MC, Toastmaster Alifia.
Well, that was DTM Robin Anand. He was supposed to get introduced earlier, but obviously as inspirational he is, he comes in and awesome, and he just wows us all with this entire gorgeous session. DTM Robin Anand is going to get introduced now, but let's do it all the time. He is not a non-known name in our Toastmaster fraternity. He has been the immediate past district director and is a Toastmaster for 13 long years. We hope he's coming to 14 very soon. because obviously 13 is not a number some people like. He's a 23-year-old marketing and advertising professional. With his choice of words that he's used this entire meeting, I can tell he's an expert at it. He's in Oman since the last 18 years, and his love for Toastmasters connects him to like-minded people who want to learn and grow. Learning, unlearning, and relearning is the key for him. Thank you, DTM Robin. You've artistically driven us through the gorgeous sessions that we've had and the amazingly moderated session. Thank you for your time. Let me quickly invite District Club Growth Director, DTM Rania, for a few words. I have no idea how she finds time. I see her literally every Toastmaster meeting that I maybe attend 30-40% of the time, but she is literally there the whole time. So hats off to leadership like you. And please do share some inspirational words for us.
Thank you so much, MC Alifia, and a very good evening and happy Diwali to all of you. What a way to celebrate Diwali with such a beautiful topic. Thank you, Anita, for such a unique session, actually. I mean, since morning, we've been attending debate sessions, and our topic today is non-debatable. I mean, this is really the need of the hour, and we're all working at how we can find better job opportunities, how we can even those, it's not only for those who have who are looking for a job or who loves their jobs. I've been in my job for the past 23 years, but sometimes you want to find out how you can find new opportunities. So thank you, Jaya, for giving us some very insightful thoughts. I've never done any of the psychometric tests, I have to admit, so I'll try those as well. Because you get to know that you're all okay, everything is fine, things are under control, but sometimes you never guarantee the circumstances. So I think you've delivered a beautiful, valuable session, and the 3 testimonials were beautiful as well. Different background. Professionally, I come from the medical background as well, like Dr. Muniba. I can confidently say I've turned from an employee to an entrepreneur because of Toastmasters. I'm a business partner now, only because of the skills I have in Toastmasters. So I think I can add my voice to them as well. So, and I loved as well how you combine the skills in Toastmasters to how we can find a career, table topics, self-confidence, as well as positivity. We are very positive people, and we need that in job hunting. So thank you again, Anita, for inviting me and for reminding me. This is a session not to miss, and a great way to end this Friday evening and to celebrate again. Tomorrow is Diwali for everyone who's celebrating it. So again, all the best to everyone who's seeking a job or is trying to explore new opportunities. We have an expert in the house, so get her contact details, and who knows, I might also contact you, Jaya, as well. And what a beautiful daughter you have. I mean, this is, like the cherry on top of the ice cream. Beautiful. MashaAllah. Bless her and bless you all, and wishing you all the best. Over to you, Madam MC. Thank you so much.
Thank you, DTM Rania. That was lovely, and we love hearing your introductions all the time, absolutely. A perfectly specific and is terrific has been the theme of the day, and we've all been inspired with the rightly used guidance, and we see DTM Jaya has been not only the role model in our house, but she's also been the role model for the entire family of the Toastmaster fraternity, and thank you for that. But we have a vote of thanks that's going to come from Toastmaster Mariam from the Wasal Toastmasters Club. She's been a Toastmaster since July 2019. She works in Wasal as a junior EHS officer. Maybe the HR people know what that is, but personally, her life's motto is to live and learn and experience all the time. She enjoys Toastmasters like all of us here do, and whoever doesn't is going to start enjoying it after today, because we've had so many tips and tricks of why you should love and enjoy Toastmasters. And she enjoys Toastmasters because she's always learning something new from someone in the family, like she probably has done today. So let's invite her for a quick vote of thanks for our speaker for the day. Over to you.
Thank you, Alifia, for the introduction. And that was really enjoyable evening. A lot of information, a lot of great tips and tricks, and definitely I think everyone is going to use that now. But let me quickly just do the vote of thanks. Thanks to everyone who joined us tonight, and happy Diwali for everyone. I know that maybe some of you had a few challenges to join because of the Diwali celebration, but thanks for having the time to join us. Let's start by thanking the trainer of today's session, Toastmaster Jaya Bhatia. Such a great trainer. Thanks for the amazing tips and tricks that you gave us tonight. And on behalf of Area 20 and Division B, we would like to thank all the role players. We have the Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Prasad, our MC, Toastmaster Alifia, our moderator, DTM Robin, the Zoom Master, Toastmaster Sriram, and our timer, Toastmaster Abduraouf. Also, we would like to thank DTM Rania Abdurrahman for joining us tonight, DTM Vinod Paniker, TM Samir GP, and TM Bosco, President of DTC, and also Toastmaster VG John, President of TDIS. And finally, last but not least, we would I would like, on behalf, okay, I keep saying we, but I would like, on behalf of our area and Division B, to thank our AD, Area Director, Toastmaster Anita Biju, for being with us tonight. And finally, our DD Division B Director, Toastmaster Harish Krishnan, for being with us tonight. So thanks to everyone, and thanks for making time to be here, for helping. Just the fact that you have had a few hours taken out of your day to join us here is such a great thing. So thanks from Area 20 and Division B to everyone, and I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you everyone for being here. And thank you, Toastmaster Anita, to organize this entire thing and for the opportunity for all of us to learn so much more.
Thank you, Alifia. Thank you. Thank you, DTM Robin. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Didi Harish. Thank you, Jaya Bhatia. That was a great session. Thank you.
Thank you to you, Anita.
Now the meeting is over. We can
either